Hello, boys and girls. My name is Miss Evelyn. You will see me throughout science or social studies. I will be teaching along with Miss Long and Miss Greer. So my name is Miss Evelyn. We are going to start the day off with a review of plant animal cells before we get started. And at the end of class, you will be able to tell me your learning target. You're going to be able to tell me why cells are microscopic, and you're going to, at the end, here's an example. You're going to be doing something similar as this. So you're going to be able to tell us, you're going to look at an example cell underneath a microscope, and you're going to tell us if that cell is a plant or animal cell. And you're also going to provide us evidence, which means you are going to prove why that's an animal cell, if it's an animal cell, or you're going to tell us why that cell is a plant cell. So the word evidence means basically you're going to back it up. You're going to hear that word a lot during fourth grade. So evidence, you're going to provide evidence of why it's a plant or animal cell. You're going to back it up, or you're going to prove how you know that it's plant or animal cell. So two things you're going to be able to tell us at the end of class. So we're going to start off with a review, and if you see on my screen, on the left, there's an animal cell, and on the right, there's a plant cell. So a quick review to go into why plants and animal cells are microscopic. So all living things are made of cells, and anything that's alive is called an organism. That's a very important word that you need to remember. Like we are organisms, we're a living thing. Plants are living things, so they are organisms. Animals are a living thing, so they are called organisms as well. Um, my book over here is not alive, so it is not an organism. It's not made of cells. So let's go back to the beginning. The cells are the basic building blocks of life. So you hear the word block. So if I think of a block, my kids like to play Legos and they put blocks together and it looks like this, and you can stack them or you can stack them side by side. So that's what I think about when I hear the word cells, the building blocks of life. And if you look at our classroom, it's made of blocks that are connected together, and they're in a neatly pattern. So this classroom is made of blocks as well. So think of cells as the building blocks of life. It could be an organism could be made of one or more cells. We're made of trillions of cells, while plant animals are made of millions of cells. Um, and you also, very important, need to know the difference between an animal cell and a plant cell, which is going to be useful in your assessment when you get finished or your quiz. So, an animal cell is going to be more circular shape. Um, when you look at it, it's going to be like a circle, like a ball, okay? And they have similar parts as to a plant cell, but the difference is a plant cell is going to be more of a rectangular shape. If you can see when I look at this, it has more of a shape. Now, if you think back um, to a plant, I always tell my kids, like, if you put all of these plant cells together, they're rectangular. And if you think of a plant, it grows upward. Think of the structure of the cell. It's going to grow to sunlight because it needs sun to survive, right? So if it's dead, it's going to be leaned over and it's not going to have its structure. It's not going to have its shape. So that's why they are rectangular, the plant cells. So remember that. That's a big difference between the two, and you're going to need that when you identify the cells underneath a microscope. And now the differences, remember that a plant cell has a cell wall. So the cell wall helps it hold that rectangular shape. It helps hold the structure of the plant upward to grow toward the sun. Also, the plant cell has chloroplast. And remember, the chlorophyll is in the chloroplast. And to remember that, the chlorophyll helps make the plant green. Now, not all plants are green. So you can't look at a plant cell and be like, oh, it's green. It's automatically a plant cell. That doesn't work. Most of the time, yes, they're going to be green, but not always. So remember that. Um, Also, chlorophyll gives it the green color, and you can remember that by when you're swimming during the summer, when you have a pool, you put chlorine in your pool to make it blue. In a plant, you use chlorophyll to make it green most of the time. So that's an easy way that you can remember the difference between a plant cell and an animal cell. A plant cell has chloroplast and it also has a cell wall. Okay, so we've looked at the cells. So why are they microscopic? So if you look at my arm right now, do you see cells? No, you can't. If I look in a giraffe, do I see cells on him? No, they are microscopic, which means we can't see them through our eyes. So we have to look at them underneath a microscope. So I'm going to go through this with you guys, and we're going to start off. So why do cells need to be observed underneath a microscope? Well, we've already said that they are microscopic. We can't see them through the naked eye. You can't see them through your eyes. You have to look at them underneath a microscope because they're so small and there's millions of them. And they go back in us to make up the tissues and the organs, but you can't see them. You have to have a microscope. Now let's talk about why do you think it's important for scientists to study cells? So if you think of a scientist and they study cells, we call those cell biologists who study the cells. And if you think about the cell membrane in a plant animal cell, they let all the good stuff in and try to keep the bad stuff away. So, why would scientists need to study that for us and for animals and for plants? Well, if you think about it, if you get sick, that has to do with your cells. They want to study that. Diseases, we want to study how diseases are made, how it makes the cells behave. If you get a stomach virus, your body's letting all that bad junk in, and the cells want to get rid of it. When you go to the doctor, if you're sick, they're going to check your white blood count to see how your cells are doing. So they'll test that. So it's very important to study cells. Um, Now, it says to look at the pictures of the microscopes. We'll do that in a minute. Um, Last question that I want to go over with you guys. Although plant and animal cells are similar, they can be shaped differently. How will the shape of the cells help you identify if they are from a plant or animal? So that's very important, and we've already went over that. If I'm looking at a cell and it's circular, then that cell is going to be an animal cell because of its shape. If I'm looking at a cell and it's more of a rectangular shape, then I know that that cell is a plant cell because it has a cell wall. Remember, that cell wall gives it its structure. So that is the answer to that question. Now, this quiz, this what I'm going to go over is exactly what you guys are going to do for your quiz. So we're going to do some together. So the first slide, this is like an actual slide, a microscopic slide of a cell. So we have to decide and ask ourselves, is that a plant cell or is that an animal cell? So if I'm looking at slide number 1, and I'm going to let you guys look at it for a minute, and I want you to decide if that's a plant cell or an animal cell. So I'll give you a minute. Now, I want you to ask yourself, when I'm looking at that, all of these cells, remember the building blocks of life, they're all together. So this right here is a cell, followed by this one, it's a cell, and this one a cell, and so on. So if I'm looking at this, I'm going to say, well, it's not circular, but it's rectangular. So I know this cell, this block of cells is a plant cell. So I'm going to type my answer as an example. I know this is A plant cell, and I'm going to provide evidence. I'm going to prove that this is a plant cell. So I got to back it up. I got to prove it because the cells are a rectangular shape, and I'm going to include one more part, and the cells have a cell wall. Because remember, a plant cell has as a rectangular shape to hold up the plant, and it helps make the structure of the plant to grow upright toward the sun. So that is my answer. It is a plant cell, so I identified it, and then I also gave evidence. I proved why my answer is right. Now, I can't just say I know it's a plant cell and be done. You didn't give me evidence, okay? So let's look at the next one. This is another example. So first, ask yourself, is this a plant cell or is this an animal cell? I'll let you have a few seconds. Okay, so if you guess that that's an animal cell, then you are correct. So I'm going to put, I know this is an animal cell. And I'm going to provide my evidence because the cells are circular, and I know it's an animal cell because they have a cell membrane. They don't have a cell wall. Remember that, okay? All right. And I'm going to go on to slide number 3. So look at this. Is this a plant or an animal cell? Look at its shape. Does it have a cell wall? Ask yourself that. So we're going to say, now this one's kind of hard to see. If you see, I can tell that they are not rectangular, they are circular. So that means this is an animal cell. So this is an animal cell because it has a circular shape. Now you're going to provide more evidence with a plant cell because you're going to say it has a cell wall. So we'll do one more together. So if I'm looking at this one, look at this one. This is awesome. So I can just picture in my head like a sunflower made of all of these cell walls, and it's growing high to the sky to get sunlight. And look at all of these cells that are holding its structure. So this is a plant cell because because the cells are rectangular and the cells have a cell wall. Very important. Okay, so you guys are going to be able to do this same thing. You have learned why cells are microscopic. We cannot see them through our eye. It has to be because they're so small. And remember, we are made of trillions of cells, like the building blocks of life. They're all squished together. And then you guys are going to do the same thing that we just did together on your own quiz, and it's going to look similar to this. You're going to be able to identify if the cells are plant cells or animal cells, and you're going to tell us why. Okay? Why are they an animal cell? Why are they a plant cell? Back it up with evidence. That's very important. Prove your answer. Okay. All right. I will see you next time, guys. Have a good day. Bye.